today. Just a few words about the Spark Meetup Barcelona. It was about, I think it started in 2014, I believe, when Spark was like the big thing. And yesterday I was like speaking with some people from different communities, and they were experiencing that it's very difficult to maintain these communities past COVID. So I'm very, very happy that we accomplished this one today. So the Spark Meetup Barcelona was born to share knowledge, give your advice to different people on their Spark journeys, and also to grow professional network. You never know who you will meet in this kind of events. We're more than 3,100 members, so thank you all again for being part of the Spark Meetup. And question that we do every time. Any first-timers here today? Just raise your hands. I see good ones. Thank you for being so brave and calm. Well, we have a Slack channel where we announce every event. We kind of, have less activity that we should, but we're aiming to do more these upcoming months. Sorry. The agenda today is very, very basic. We have our welcome from Qbeast, that I will do it myself. I will change just the hats. Later on, we will have the talks about the data journeys of Glovo, Holaluz, and Adevinta. We will have a discussion panel where we will ask the Barcelona top companies some of the questions that will be raised during the presentations. When we will do also a Q&A, like interactively. We have a quiz, just answer the questions faster and you will like win prizes. And later on we will have food and drink at the venue. And now I change the hat to the Qbeast, so a little bit of who we are. We come from the BSc Research Center. We have a strong foundation in research, where we patented the technology to index in hypercomputer scenarios, but time changes and the technology too. So we reinvent the whole technology to bring the best layout to the data lakes. So here it's like the core of our technology is basically organizing data to maintain files in the exact size and min-max layout, so you will be able to skip data faster, both in efficient in sampling and in normal data skipping, like when you try to filter a predicate for different columns. These multidimensional indexes help you load your data faster. This is open source and it's based on the data lake, but it works for all the formats. It's basically agnostic. So the only thing that it does is just adds extra. The only thing that it does, it's organizing the data and adds extra metadata to the comic log for those here that are more experts in that. And this extra metadata will allow you to skip data faster. You can right away check up our GitHub repository, and if you're interested in the project, I aim you to put a star on the repo. But okay, open source, it's nice and all, but the thing is, how do we manage this kind of stuff? This is other thing that Qbeast also does, is the lakehouse on autopilot. It analyzes basically your data lake, how your files are distributed, and it automatically optimizes it. So you don't have to take the burden of actually understanding what is happening, what is going on, and applying the several optimizations that you may want for your files to be in a good shape. We have automated data ingesting and streaming, format agnostic storage engines, so it will work for any data warehouse or data BI tool that can show dashboards from the data lake. And it provides also lakehouse observability to know how are your files distributed, if they are distributed correctly, or several observability that allows you to detect anomalies at time. So nevertheless, enjoy the journey today. I will leave the stage to, I believe it's Holaluz. Oh, no, Glovo. Glovo is the first. So please welcome to the stage, Holaluz.
Thank you. Down, hacia abajo, hacia arriba.
Creo que hacia abajo. Sí, perfecto, hacia abajo. Lo colocas aquí cerca.
This is the first, so please wait a second. Bear with me. Can you hear me well? That's in full? No. Okay. So, welcome. Thank you. It's interesting that this is a Spark meetup, and I didn't know. So, and we are actually moving away from Spark, so that's an interesting topic. I'm here to tell you a little about the data journey in Glovo, like how do we actually get from raw data or from events to insights or to data products, right? And these data products is something that we can discuss later what that is. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Juan Carlos Vázquez, but everyone calls me Charlie. I'm Charlie Vázquez, and I'm a vet. So I'm actually the weird man out. I'm leading a data platform, but I'm a veterinary doctor. So this is an interesting topic for everyone who is not from software engineering. You can go there. Okay. So we can start talking about the architecture, but it's a 15-minute talk, so probably we won't be able to cover all of this. So let's summarize a little. First, what is data at Glovo, right? First, the first part is, what do we track? Well, we track every user interaction we have. We track every scroll, every click, every screen impression that we have. We also have backend events, right? Because these are what you're seeing here is the front end, but then you have a lot of backend events that are explaining how the things work in the background. And we have transactions, of course. Everything that you buy, everything that you make a transaction, actually ends up in our data lake, or delta lake, actually. And for that, we came up with an internal tool that is called Desert. Why is it called Desert? That's an interesting fact. Our previous tool was called Rivers, so we needed to dry the rivers. Why? Because we needed to change from Kinesis, which was our main event broker, to Kafka. And we, Glovo, are aiming to have an event-driven architecture, an event-first architecture. So not all, but most of our data will be handled through events. And in Rivers, syncing was cumbersome. It was expensive, and it had a really high latency. Like, in order to actually get data to be consumable, it took a day, right? So, and we couldn't actually refresh, like, bring the freshness down. So that's why we went to build something new. And what did we want to build? Something that allows us to at least do hourly syncing. That was the let's say, less goal. If we can go better, that's better, right? We wanted to have it abstracted, so it should be automatic. You put a connector, the connector sends an event, it gets synced automatically, and you get a source-aligned data product, right? And that would enable us to have the sources available as a given. So you could just explore everything. Okay, and what's the impact of actually having developed this? We are handling right now over 200 events with very little effort from the engineers of the team. These events include machine learning models, include backend events, front-end events. So we are handling all of that with the same technology, with the same flow, which also reduces a lot the maintenance that you have to do. This creates hourly source-aligned data products. So each hour you get a new partition, right? But the data is actually synced every 15 minutes. So you can actually go fresher if you need. And it's extensible to do change data capture, so to go to databases, to read cloud storage like for Archive files or things like that, and to do API ingestion, which is another use case that we're doing. We're sending the API to Kafka, and then Kafka goes to all this flow. So how does this work? Basically, you have the app that creates the events, right? The events are handled by X microservices or N microservices, go through Kafka topics, and the Kafka topics are synced through the connectors. The connectors that are running in the Kafka connect cluster sync them to with Desert, like there is a lot of handling in the background, to S3. And once they are in S3, we throw them into a magic box that we will talk later that is called DDP, or Declarative Data Platform, with some logic to reduce duplicates or things like that. And that actually enables our auto-source aligned data product, right? And then let's go to DDP then. We said we throw it to a magic black box. What's DDP? Or why did we start with DDP? We had a super flexible platform, right? Every data engineer could do what, it wasn't the full cloud, but basically could do whatever they wanted. And that was great for the data engineers. They developed a lot of data products, over 100 around in 1 year or so. And it worked. It used EMR on demand, so it was actually not so expensive because you raise the cluster for each data product and you bring it down when you finish processing. But it was super different. Each data product was super different. One of them was in Spark, the other was in SQL, the other used dbt. So it started to, when we started to maintain, it was really hard. And we were onboarding data mesh. So we said, hey, let's cut the flexibility. Let's standardize a little. And let's create a declarative way of creating data products, right? This will enable not only data engineers, but anyone in the company to build data products, because it's just SQL, right? It's declarative. And then this would also make the development cycle faster. We reduced by 10x, so from 80 hours to create a data product to 8 hours. In a day, you can create a data product. We democratize, like business analysts are actually building the data products right now. Of course, then we have another problem that we can discuss it later also. And we introduce governance by design. How does this work, or how did we envision it? So basically, this is what we do. This is the code that actually creates a data product, right? So you have a data product manager where you put the name, you put the owner, you put the tier of the data product, so is it critical, is it not critical, etc. Then you add sensors, wait for table, right? Wait for another data product. You add SQL transformations. You add data quality checks, and it's all handled in the background. You publish it, you can publish it in draft or in production, and it's magic and it works. It gets deployed. How does it work in the background? Basically, you can do it through GitHub or through VS Code or through any IDE that you want, or through Jupyter Notebooks for the, let's say, less experienced people. In the future, we aim to have a graphical UI to less experienced people yet. And then this creates a revision spec. A revision spec is basically a JSON that transforms everything that you put in there into a payload for our backend. This goes to our backend, Meshhub backend, and it transforms it into a DAG, which it throws to the bucket where Airflow reads and runs through dbt. But for the user, all of this is transparent, right? And then it's processed by our query engine. Our query engine, as I said, we are not using any more Spark yet. We are thinking of having it as a background on EKS, but yet we are not using it. We use Starburst. Starburst is a managed Trino engine. And we have our own Trino engine that we also manage. We are kind of checking up them both, but the current one is Starburst. And we did it. So we had in 1 year, with our previous platform, 100 data products. In 6 months now we have 700, right? I don't know if that's good. Like, do we actually need 700 data products? But, well, we did it. Just for the sake of completion, and before I jumped to Holaluz, how do we consume this? Because a data product, and this is a longer discussion, is not only having a table, right? It's actually the whole consumption, the insight itself. So we have our data catalog, we register all the metadata so you can actually discover these data products, which is Data Hub. We consume this information or the insights that we generate through Looker, through Trino, as ad hoc queries, or through Jupyter Notebooks, as ad hoc queries or machine learning models. We have Amplitude, which enables us to kind of do the funnels of the events and understand a little better the funnel. It's another visualization tool, but more focused on the funnels. And then we have 2 different things that are super important in our architecture, that are the experimentation platform and the feature store. The experimentation platform is super important because it allows us to experiment, right? And we have a theory that is being proven, that if we experiment a lot and we fail a lot, we will improve faster, right? So it actually calculates the scorecard of experiments automatically, right? And it shows it either in Looker or in a dashboard, or in a self-GUI dashboard. And then we have the feature store, which when you think about the feature store normally, you relate it to ML, right? It's to put features so ML models can serve from there. But we have extended it a little further, and we are using it as our single serving layer for everything, for every automated decision. So backend actually goes to the feature store to bring the segments of the users, to understand what's the metrics that we need to serve to a user, what's the ranking that we need to serve. So we are using that as our single entry endpoint to serve what the machine learning models do, but also features that are analytical and that we need to show to the users. So how does it look in general? Simplified, of course. But then we have the app and some external sources that either through Kafka or databases or external sources is synced through Desert, right? This is synced in our Delta Lake. First, it's synced because we dump the events as abros, right? But then we don't want people to be consuming a lot of small abros because that's expensive and that's not efficient. So we create DDPs, source-aligned DDPs, and we put them also in Delta Lake through Drino. But also, experimentation platform is mounted on top of the DDPs because they created DDPs. And it's also queried through Drino. And then couriers, DS, and business users can both create DDPs through the IDE, through Jupyter, can consume the information through spreadsheets, because they always use spreadsheets, Looker and Amplitude, and those results go through the feature store to the app. And now that's it.
Okay, now if anyone wants to grab a beer, now it's time, because I will be 1 minute doing this. Okay, so let's start. Today, what I am going to present you is 3 advices that I would have told myself at 3 different moments in the past when building a data architecture framework. Or what is the same? I will show you 3 different architectures that we have had in Holaluz at 3 different points in the time, and I will tell you what things now I will have done it differently. So it will be the double journey. So I will explain you the data journey 3 times. So the journey of the data journey in Holaluz. First of all, just to do a brief introduction to Holaluz for the ones that don't know the company. The company was born more than 10 years ago, and our mission is to connect people to the green energy. And this we are doing it via 2 ways. First of all, we give green energy to our customers. So we buy green energy in the market and we sell this green energy to the customers. And secondly, we are installing solar panels across Spain in all the rooftops that is possible to do so. So, although the company was born more than 10 years ago, the data team was born in 2016. And it was composed by 2 people. One was myself, that we were DAD. This is not data engineering, it's data everything, because we did everything there. And we faced a situation that everything was in Excel. So we had the issue that when you went to a business person and you told them about databases, they just ask you why you wanted the database if I have this Excel file that I can do everything there. So we present the first architecture. And it's quite simple, but it was useful at the time. We had a few data sources. We had a CRM. We had the central database with all the applications and some other files. And then for the computation, we used only an EC2 machine. It's a very simple architecture. And this EC2 machine moved all the data inside a relational database, a MySQL one. And finally, we had some data products. Later on, we can discuss what are data products. But first, this wording didn't exist by then. And secondly, I don't think that they were data products. But we had some solutions that were Power BI dashboards, some other queries, some files, etc., etc. And this had several advantages. First of all, it was compliant with the budget. So we got a budget of 200 euros per month. So this architecture met the budget at that time. And also, it was simple to maintain. So we didn't have to include indexes, securize anything, because everything was in our control. We were in control of all the data, etc., etc. So it was quite simple. But then at some point, we start getting more data sources, or our main data source got bigger or larger. Then we had to increase our EC2 machine. But then we had to add an extra EC2 machine, because with only one, we got some logs in the morning, etc., etc. So we start reading books about data warehouse designs, etc., etc. And the data kept growing. Also the database and the users and the Power BI dashboards. We got some logs, IOPS problems with the MySQL database, because we had a lot of concurrency there. We started reading books about optimizing MySQL databases also, creating indexes and all that. But the database kept growing, because a simple way of optimizing a database, but not optimizing, but solving some problems, is to increase the size of the database. Since to a point that it wasn't a good solution, and everyone in all the rooms saw that that was not consistent during all the time. So what was a good solution in the beginning, very simple one, compliant one, etc., we saw that it wasn't scalable. It had some concurrency issues. And at the end, we had to dedicate a lot of time to optimizing, maintaining data there. And what was simple, it was pretty complex at some point. And then we thought, okay, we will change the architecture by then. At 2018, we will create a new pipeline structure, a new database, etc., etc. But what we realized then, it was that we didn't prepare our systems to make a migration. And as you can think about, the migrations are painful, but when you don't have the things documented, when you don't have a certain order in what you do, it's very hard to do all of that. So what I learned that year is that we should build the things in order to be changed. Not because of technical aspects, as happened to us, but also because world changes, and maybe now what is popular is to have a data lake, but in 5 years or 10 years, maybe it's a completely different things. So this is what I learned in 2018. And then the team kept growing. In 2018, we had a federated data team, so we were more people in the data team. We could have implants in the business teams as data analytics people. And the data warehouse was evangelized across companies. So we had a lot of users using that data warehouse. And our next architecture was this one. So the data sources were more or less the same. So we had more data sources with more data, but the concept is the same. But we changed our data pipelines based on EC2 to a containers structure. So this was more scalable. And for example, for some highly intensive pipelines, we used Glue, and by then we executed PySpark jobs there, so everything worked. And the second change that we did is that we changed the relational database, that it wasn't a good solution for analytic purposes and other ones, for Snowflake, for a columnar database. And the third and final modification, so we had a raw stage to store some data that we pushed to Snowflake, but also another modification was that we split the data team into domains. So we had several data domains consisting of business processes. So we had a data steward in each group of business processes, and this data steward was in charge of speaking with the stakeholders, creating the data solutions, etc., etc. So here we improved a bit the governance problem that we had. So the strong points. First of all, as we saw, we could parallelize pipelines, so we didn't have that log in our EC2 structure. Also, the columnar database helped us with the concurrency issues. As you know, Snowflake, Redshift, and all the solutions like that are very good with concurrency, scalability, so you can run a lot of queries. You obviously pay more, obviously, but you can solve these issues. And also, separating the data domains helped us in governance and controlling the things that we did. Then, along the different queues, we started ingesting more data in this solution because the business teams saw that it was a really good solution for the company, and we got more users into that. But there was the thing that we didn't take into account, and was that, okay, we have more data sources, but who is in charge of the data quality there? So we got a point that we had data products there, or data solutions, but some stakeholders didn't trust some of them, and we didn't know who was the person or the team who should fix that. So we have some engineering teams that create applications that they say that they didn't have to solve the issues in data. We have some data analysts that they created dashboards that they say that they couldn't do anything with data. And obviously, this was quite of a mess. So the second thing that I learned when creating a data architecture was that we should assign the ownership of data quality. Okay, here I state data producers, but not data producers as the application, but the entity, the group of people, teams who own that application. And not only that, what we have to strive to do is that we have to tell them or assign them, including a notion that they are the owners, but as a company, we have to give them tools to do so, because we cannot do anything, or it's useless to say that they are owners of the data quality, but the team does not have tools to do so. And this is a problem that we had tackled in the last architecture. That is this one. And the main change here is that we moved from a data warehouse stylish architecture to the most modern architecture that time, that was 2022, that was the data lake house architecture. So we created our data lake. We created the data lake in S3. We used some Amazon Web Services features for the catalog also. Now we are exploring Amazon Web Service data zone. That I think that they are testing with us the tool, but let's see. And we also changed the data pipelines, okay? We changed the containers to Glue as a general solution. For this solution for batch pipelines, and also we incorporated the real-time event-driven data streaming solution with Kafka. So we manage both things. Okay, so we have some pipelines that they have to be real-time. These are on Kafka. And we have others that are in batch. This we use Glue. But everything ends in the data lake. Here we can't debate if Glue is the best solution or are other ones. What I say here is that we have a wide range now of solutions. They are not good or they are not bad ones. Okay, yes, there are bad ones, but between the good, there can be several solutions that are equally good. It depends a lot in the case of your company. And the second change that we did here, we did just not create the data lake, but we changed the layers on top of the data lake. So now the analytics database was not only the top data layer, so everyone did not query Snowflake in this case, but we had other layers. We had one machine learning layer that targeted the data lake, and we had other services, APIs, that moved data from the data lake to other sites that we didn't need to use this Snowflake. And with that, we achieved several things. First of all, we increased the governance there, because with the data lake, we also include data contracts and data ownerships when inserting data in the data lake. So we are trying to manage this data quality problem, but also we reduced the costs of the analytic layer. So we had several queries that were on top of Snowflake that they didn't need to be there. And as this database normally are pay-per-use, as we reduce the use, we have lowered that budget. Okay. And from this slide or this architecture, I won't explain you the drawbacks because we are on that. Maybe in a year I can explain you more drawbacks, but I will explain you a case that happened to us, a story that it's quite fun. Because this data lake, we started creating it 2 years ago, and first we tried to create it with a purely technical team. So we gathered the best technical people there, and we started creating the data lake. And what happened is that we had to struggle with a high cultural change in the company because the stakeholders felt that the solution wasn't for them. And believe me, creating a solution when the stakeholders, they can do what you are building for them, it's really hard because they can not use what you're creating for them because they have another tool that they are using, such as, for example, the old architecture. So it was quite hard, and we had this business cultural change, and also the solutions arrived with some lag to the stakeholders. So you present a solution, and the stakeholder told you that it wasn't the best solution for them, and they need some iterations. So we changed here our mind, and we tried to do the opposite. We tried to gather the business teams, some of the people there, and make them tell the technical team what they need. And what happened is that we then got a data lake, we got an application that made features that they needed. So it was more like a CRM and not a data lake. So here, what we did at the end is that we created the figure as PM of this data platform, and was this figure that has been the owner since then to create this with the technical team and the business team. So this is how we manage. But it has been a long path. And yeah, finally, just to end my presentation, just a brief recap of the 3 states that I have explained to you, and the things that if I got like those years ago, I would have made differently, are to build things, to make them change easily. Secondly, to give a clear ownership of data quality, and finally, to combine technical stuff with business stuff and find the way to do so. As I say always, there's not the best data architecture. So there are several data architectures that work. You must find the one that meets your company. And with that, I will give the word to Gustavo.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, oops. So, well, my talk is about the data journey, but how the data created by our users, by our customers, ends up in our databases, in this case Lakehouse and a data warehouse. But because we don't have too much time, only in 15 minutes, it is going to be a simple use case. and also not the whole data journey, but it will be at least a good part of it. But first of all, I've been told that I am coming from Adevinta, and I've been told that I need to make some publicity, but it's going to be short about my company, so sorry, but sorry again. It is going to be quick. So Adevinta is a really big company that, as you can see, is located in Europe and in America, and it owns many marketplaces. And a marketplace is, for example, InfoJobs or Milanuncios that I guess all of you are using daily. But sorry again. In numbers, this company is really, really big, and we have 2.5 billion of visits monthly, and almost 6,000 employees. And well, from the economical point of view, it is doing also all right, so great for Adevinta. And well, about me, just a quick introduction, because you are going to ask who is this guy. I am Gustavo Martin, and I am coming from a background about front-end, back-end, but like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, I joined a team in charge of creating a data platform at Adevinta, and more specifically Adevinta Spain, here in Spain. And we are, in this team, we are creating a data platform for Milanuncios, InfoJobs, Cochesnet, Motosnet, Fotocasa, Habitacle, and probably I am forgetting some marketplace, but all of that. And well, yeah, right now we can skip the publicity. And why do we want to store data here in our databases, in our data platform? Well, we have many users. We have also creating data. We have also many marketplaces. We want to collect this data and do useful things with this data. Useful things means that this data, it could be tables, have some value for our company, or they are valid for, or they are being used in some use case or whatever it is needed in the company. That's why we are doing this. We are not creating data warehouses or data lakes because we want. No, we are doing this because it has some meaning, and it is useful for the company, for our users. And this is, in this picture, you can see the whole, in an easy way, the whole data journey. I hope you will be able to see it, but from the starting from our users, for example, if you are using Milanuncios, you will be in this place, and the whole data journey to the end. And what do we have at the end? We have stuff like Tableau, Click, or pipelines of machine learning pipelines, where you are creating dashboards, or you are creating machine learning models and things like that, that at the end are useful for your company. So you can see here the whole data journey, but we are going to start from the user point of view. So you reach the Milanuncios web page, and here you want to, for example, to publish some ad because you want to sell something in Milanuncios. So what you are going to find here is a button called Publicar, Publish. Once you click in that button, what is going to happen is one event is going to be triggered from your web browser. And this event, it could be something like this. It is not exactly this kind of event, but if you pay attention to your web browser, you will see that something like this it is happening. So what is going to happen here? We are in our data journey in this location at the beginning. You are using your web browser, and your raw data is being sent where? It's being sent to the backend. And here in the backend, what do we find? We find microservices implemented with Spring Boot, using Java, Kotlin, and running in clusters, Kubernetes clusters. In the backend, the developers are doing something with this data. They are making transformations, doing useful things with this data. So we are here in our data journey, in this place. And as you can see, we are in the operational world. We didn't reach the analytical world where data engineers, data analysts, and data scientists are located. And now we have here the backend developers and the consumers of this data. For example, data engineers that want to do something with the data that is located in the operational world, with the data, this data that is being transformed by the backends, by people using the microservices. So, for example, you have a business use case where you want to learn how many people are publishing ads in anuncios every day, every hour. You have that business use case, so you need to go to the backend developers and ask them, well, where is this data that is being created by the users? Where is this event? They have the event, and you want to consume that event. You are the consumer, you are in the analytical world, you are the consumer, they are the producers. So now you need to create conversations between producers and consumers. You need to ask them for the data, they need to provide you the data. And for doing that, what we are using here is the data contract. The data contract is a way that enables us to make this kind of conversations between producers, backend developers, and consumers, data engineers, data analysts, data scientists that are located in the analytical world. So in this way, you can ask them what you want, they can provide you what you want, and you have one place where everything is specified. For example, the fields, what kind of data they are producing, if it's a JSON, is something different. You have everything there defined in the data contract. So here, for example, what is happening is that some data engineer, or some data analyst, or some data scientist needs this event. This is a simple use case, and the event is the same as you were seeing before, but typically this event will be different. But the producer, what we'll be doing here is to send the event in this simple case to Kafka. There are other sources of data. Here is Kafka, but because this is a really easy example, but we have other sources of data where the producers are creating data. But for this example, this producer is creating data in Kafka, and it is defining this data by means of the data contract. So now, through data engineers, data analysts, and data scientists can know where this data is being produced and how a data contract works and what is a data contract. Well, here you can see where are we in the data journey. Oh, sorry, I am going backwards. Here we are. This is where we are located in our data journey. And what is a data contract? So we said we want to have the definition of what we want to consume from the operational world. We want to have the definition somewhere. So what we have here is two different things. The data definition, the simple event that you were seeing there that was being sent to Kafka, here to your left, the data definition, and you can see there all the fields that the data that is being produced contains. So you know what is the structure of your data. But also you have in the data contract more metadata related, for example, about where this data is being produced. In this case, in Kafka, so in a topic in Kafka, you can see there the topic, the name of the topic, the Kafka topic. But you can see also who is producing or where is the source of this data. In this case, we were saying it was Milanuncios. So you can see in the data contract already that the source of data is Milanuncios. But you have more information, like for example, what team is the owner of this data, and where you can a point of contact where you can reach people from this team. So if, for example, you are the consumer, you are consuming this data from Kafka, and for some reason there is a problem with this data, bad things always happen. So you can go here, go to the data contract, and easily you can find who is the producer of the data, and you can reach them and ask them for a solution quickly. Without this, you will be totally lost, and you will be saying, well, I am consuming this data, but I have no idea who is doing this. And also, a good thing is that with the data definition, if, for example, you have some problems with the event that is being sent, quickly we can apply data quality in this data, and if it doesn't match the definition, the event doesn't match this definition, it can be quickly detected. So we are already, something like Roger was saying, we are able to apply data quality at the producer level before even reaching the analytical world, before even reaching our data platform. And that's really, really important, as you were telling us before. Well, now we need to consume these events and store these events in our lakehouse. In this case, we have a lakehouse implemented in S3. We need to consume these events. For doing that, at least at Adevinta, we are creating applications implemented with Spark, with Apache Airflow, and we are storing this information in S3, in our lakehouse. And this could be a data product builder, but not yet. It is not yet a data product builder. We will see why. Well, you can see here again in where are we located in the data journey. We are already in the analytical world. We are consuming the data, and we are using something called data product builder that we will see now. And also, as you can see there, we are creating something called source-aligned tables, or source-aligned products. Source-aligned because it is the first step after the first step in our analytical world. The source is Kafka, so the first step, the first thing that we are creating and storing is data coming directly from this source. That it is in this example, it is Kafka. We have more sources of data, but for this simple use case, we are using Kafka. So we are creating in the first step here source-aligned data products, source-aligned tables, you could see, or you could think about, and they are implemented in Delta Lake in Amazon S3. And well, what is a data product? We were saying data product builders, but what is that? To your left, you can see different tools, like in a cloud. You could, for example, you want to consume data from Kafka. What you could be doing? You can start to implement your own application in Spark. You can create your own Git repository for your application. You can use your own Apache Airflow. You can create your own metrics. You can do everything by yourself. But at the end, there will be many teams, many different people creating the same, but in different ways. But you can do something better. You can do this better, and is to provide a template with everything that someone needs in order to consume data from Kafka using also these data contracts. So you can do it with a template, and in this way, everyone along the whole company will be creating the same applications in the same way, and everyone will be doing the same. So if you need to modify something, you need to modify the way the data is consumed. You don't need to go team by team making modifications. You can modify the template, and this change will be applied along the whole company in an easy way. And and also because we are creating a template, there is some kind of governance as a code, because everyone is using the same. So there are like rules that everyone is following in an easy way. So everyone is happy. Now people don't need to repeat themselves. And we are also have some kind of control because everyone is doing the same root of code, in this case, the template. Well, only for, there is something else that I wanted to show you, and we were saying that we were creating source-aligned products or source-aligned tables, but what is a data product? And here you can see a canvas. I don't know if you can read really well what is there, but it is a canvas that you can find in internet, and it is related to data mesh. And in this canvas, what the canvas is trying to represent is that for having a data product, you cannot have only a table. You need to have a table, but that table needs to exist for some reason, for some business use case or whatever. You don't start to create, for example, a star model in your data warehouse with tables, with many tables, just because you want. You need to create tables in your data warehouse or in your data lake because they have some meaning or some requirements. There is some requirement from your company, from your users. And that's one of the first things that you need to think before saying you have a data product. And also, there are some things around, for example, the table that you need to also have. For example, security, if you are applying security to that table. So if you are not applying security, probably you don't have also a data product. If you have documentation about the structure of your table, if you have documentation about who owns that table, there are different, many things around your table that converts your table in a data product, starting for that table must exist because there is a business use case related to that table. If nobody needs that table, that's a product that doesn't have any meaning, so it is not going to be a data product. And I could be talk much more about other, because as you saw, I have only explained about source-aligned data products, but we have more data products like aggregated data products and consumer-aligned data products, but because of the time that we have, I am not going to be able to explain it, but perhaps in the future, if you want to learn much deeply about what we have, and perhaps even do a hands-on with our code and things like that, it would be great if we could do this in a different meetup. But now, for time reasons, I can only tell you that we have more data product builders, we have aggregated aligned data products and consumer aligned data products, until for reaching the whole data journey and creating this whole data journey. And this is the team that is behind all of these data product builders and data contracts, and all of us are working here at Adevinta Spain and at Adevinta, and that's it, because we don't have much more time.
Thank you. And now I will ask the discussion panelists to come to the stage and just take a seat. So the idea is to just ask several questions about your data journeys. I will pass you. We have 2 mics.
Can you see them? Otherwise, can you maybe sit? All the people in the back.
Maybe we can take this away. First timers, we are first timers too. Thank you.
You have to suffer to present.
So first of all, kind of to break the ice a little bit, I want to know when was the first time you learned about what a data product is, because it's relatively a new term. but I want to know when was the first contact that you heard like data product, and what was your first reaction about it? Let's start by you.
Okay, do you want me?
Sí. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Think it works?
So those are actually two different questions, right? First is when you actually get the first contact to the data product term, and then when you learn.
Yes.
I haven't learned what a data product is as of now, right now. So my first contact was by when I started reading about data mesh and Samak's books and other stuff, which she hasn't actually mentioned data product as a concept, but she talks about data as a product, and then that kind of leads to the data product concept. In my experience, there is some misunderstanding in data as a product versus data products. And many of us, including us and at Glovo and everywhere, tend to replace data sets with data products, kind of likewise. And the idea behind it is actually thinking about a product, right? Treating it as a product, understanding the need, going to the user that will be consuming that data. It could be, in my opinion, of course, it could be a dashboard, a machine learning model, an automation, a pipeline, understanding what's the impact that it will have, how it will be used, and then building a product around it, right? So understanding how to manage changes, how to ensure that the impact is what is expected, and a lot of things that we normally tend to forget when we actually build data sets or pipelines, which is what we normally build.
Do you agree? Please.
Yeah, okay, so mainly, in my opinion, I agree with you, because for Holaluz, the data product is solution based on data, obviously, but the key point here is that they have to bring value to business team. And obviously, it's not just that, but with that, you have to implement some other aspects that maybe it's not a key definition of data product, but without that, you will have a mess with your data things there. For example, I talk about governance, I talk about security, etc., etc. So it's kind of a pack of all the things. Maybe when we stick to definition, it's just, okay, products based on data that business teams can use, etc., etc. But what will happen in 2 years when you will have 2,000, 3,000 data products there, and maybe they only use 500, for example?
Like, if you can complement, speaking about that, if you can also complement, like, do you know how many data products do you have on your company?
No. Sorry, no. And not because, I mean, in Spain, maybe we know, because they have, they are working a lot. For context, I'm working at Adevinta at global level, so that's what I'm saying in Spain. So in Spain, I think there's more control on numbers because they've been working hard in this platform on building data products. But it's not the same in the rest of the country. So having like the final number of data products, I don't see that we are even closer. So I hope that in the future we can have a better control on what is the data we are generating. Okay. One fact thing on data products.
You're saying it
yeah,
with
because
the
I say
mouth
that
like
I will skip the question of what is a data product.
Fine for me.
But first time with data products, so I remember when I joined Adevinta like almost 6 years ago, I joined as a data modeler, and my goal there was to model all the analytics data for the global reporting. So it was very interesting that they were like accessing whatever data. So I remember the analysts struggling with whatever data. Everything was crazy, like crunching data from here, from there, and then was people making decisions with this data, okay? So my first thing was just creating a simple data set with the relations materialized, so avoiding joins, like having like a product, but almost 6 years ago. So then I started creating like documentation. We started with the engineers. We were like, oh, let's add them some use cases so they can explore the data easily. Let's give them some view on where this data is coming. So we were like, getting there without knowing that this was a data product. And I remember conversations with my manager saying, at the end, data should be like, we should work with data like a product, right? And we published some interesting documents. You can find them in the tech blog. He also published one that is data product versus data as a product. So then we started building this mindset. But there was a moment when the famous article from ThoughtWorks appears and put a name to everything. So then it was like much easier for the people to be engaged. Oh, data products, data products, data products. But at the end, it was like, yes, this is an organic evolution of building sustainable world with our data. So my first time was with data mesh. But the concept, it's there for a long time. I don't know.
No, you answered really well.
And like, if you can recall, like, the worst part of, being able to kind of move in this architecture to a more sustainable quality assurance, like, if any of you can recall, like, the worst thing, migrations.
The producers.
The producers.
The producers, because at the end, this requires moving the quality more to the source. This requires them being more responsible, being owners of the data. But this is not their business. My business is to deliver. At Adevinta, we build our solutions to make so we develop software. And their business is develop this software because I need to build a feature that allows people connecting each other. Don't tell me about analytics. What is this? Don't tell me about the data. Who is using this data? So that was the more difficult part. Then, when they say I need to deliver on the business, and then you do the question, how do you measure the impact you are doing to the business? It's, I don't know. You need data and good data. So then there we started building this. And the other thing that was key was when these data people was closer to the product teams, then they are able to build more than just a dashboard. So they start building ML models on top because they are experts in the context of the domain they are working. So they start like delivering much more value. So, but it's long journey.
I'm happy to know that we weren't only one struggling with that. I think I would add to that maybe a couple of things that are also important with a data mesh deployment. First of all, is to have a sponsor. For example, in Holaluz, it went good to have a C-level sponsor for that, and also to find some use cases to justify this implementation with some business metrics, revenue or whatever. Even they are not in the short term because we know that it's hard to find a case that in 1 month we get revenue. But I think that these two things are key ways to make your company start implementing this. If you find what are the benefits and you can show that with data, probably you can convince the team and the company to go to that way.
Okay, I don't know if you want to add something. And also I want to know, bit of a more technical probably, which are the tools you couldn't live with to create or to maintain, sustain a data
Gmail.
project? Oh my God. Okay, more in the data part.
It's a good question. I don't think there is one tool that I couldn't like. We have a so vast zoo of tools that are replaceable, right? That you can replace one with another. So I think for me, or in my experience, it's one of the key parts of building a nice place around data, a data mesh that people love, and so on. revolves around the data catalog, but it's not any tool specifically, right? I'm not talking about, I don't know, Atlas, Alation, Data Hub. I don't care which tool, but the key part is people need to find the data they need. And that's the place where the magic happens, right? If they actually are able to find that in an easy way, which is not the normal situation of any company, they will be able to enjoy using data. And when they enjoy using data, they will be supporting you and they will be champions to what you're doing.
It's funny that you say the catalog because in Holaluz it happened something kind of like that. Because we started building the data lake, but we didn't have a data catalog. So the team with the data lake, they say, okay, the data lake is live, we can use that and whatever. But in practice, without the catalog, we couldn't do anything. So to know which was the data there, they had to write to the guy that had this project in Slack and ask them which are the data that you have, et cetera, et cetera. What did you have upload today and all that. So yeah.
Okay, and one more. We talk about the past, like how do you migrate? What was the worst part? But what are you like? How do you see the data teams in kind of 5 years from now? Like, what do you expect? You expect like there's more adoption to what a data product is. There's more ownership. There will be one single tool that rules them all.
Well, I don't know if there will be a tool, but and it's really difficult what is going to happen in the future because in 1 year or less, many things change with for example, artificial intelligence. So I don't know what I expect is that everyone in an easy way, because sometimes we talk here about many different technologies and complex applications and complex things. And in my opinion, in the future, what we will have is like templates, like we were seeing here, where easily anyone in a company could start to create data products or could start to create, to extract value from the data that you are storing. And in which way that will happen, I don't know. Probably for how the things are changing with artificial intelligence, probably thanks to all this metadata that we are storing, and thanks to these templates that you can create around your technology, everyone at some point, even someone without development skills, will be able to easily extract useful information from your data platforms or wherever you are storing the data. So that's how I see the future, and probably the artificial intelligence will have a real important part there in order to be able to do that, just applying your language. You don't need to program anymore. You just can write, I want to extract this information from this about my users, and easily just using your language, probably you will be able to create already the tables or dashboards that you need, and that's how I see the future.
Someone wants to? Okay.
I think in general, our industry kind of goes in circles, right? So when 10 years ago, and you mentioned it, you used Pentaho or any other BI tool. And the BI tools abstracted all the complexity out of you. You just drew boxes and moved them around, and it worked. It was magic. And then we learned that distributed processing was the best, and everything had to be in Kubernetes. And you need really low-level skills for that. And now we're, again, converging to abstract all that part. And in 5 years or 10 years from now, we will have quantum computing. And again, we will need low-level skills for that. So I don't see that. I see that the tech skills may be evolving or changing during time, and I see that the industry is again moving towards what were before called BI engineers and are now called analytics engineer, but similar. But in general, the main substance of it, so actually being able to make sense of the data and put them around so that it's easy to make sense of it, either by us or by artificial intelligence, like he was saying. So I don't think that will change so much. The way of using it may change, the way of accessing it, the way of consuming it, but the job of actually making sense of it will always be there.
Okay, so thank you all for participating. Right now, I'm gonna remove myself, and we're gonna have some Q&A. So if any of you have any question for the ones present, please feel free to raise your hand.
I can answer questions.
Yes.
Yeah, but we want him recorded. So I was wondering if I could get a sense from you in all this discussion about data products, data mesh. What is your view on how much is technology versus how much is like processes, company culture? So in your journey, how much have you observed that is technology versus all the other stuff?
I would say it's not technology at all.
It is or it isn't?
It isn't. In general, it's a way of looking at the organization, specifically on data, but at the organization as a whole. And it's a change management process. And the technology is there to support us in that change management process. But it's just that, like it's actually rethinking how we do things rather than building a Delta Lake or a query engine or whatever.
Yeah, I only would add that if technology appears here is to provide tools to support those processes. So maybe in some years we can see a tool that helps you to create data product or to develop your data mesh more easily than now, because now, for example, if you want to have data products, you have to build your own solutions, or the companies that exist are really niche or are really starting now. So maybe the technological part starts like this, but at the end, what it will make your company success with that or not is the culture and the processes and bureaucracy of that.
Just by the definition of what is data mesh, is a socio-technological paradigm. So with this, I think that by default, the creators of the concepts are already telling us that it's not a platform, it's not a piece of software, it's social, so it also requires your organization to be set up, all this computational governance, all these domains to be identified, all being owners, so not only platform, not only technology, the platform that enables the mesh to work is one of the pieces or one of the pillars, as they talk about, is socio-technical paradigm.
Well, I just wanted to add that not only with data mesh more, but I believe that everything that you implement when you build up an application or whatever, there is a more important part related to people and cultural and social component than technology. So many times we as developers focus a lot on the technology, but at the end the technology is not really important, and what is important are the people. So not only in data mesh, but in everything that we are doing as developers or whatever we are doing in this IT world that has many branches and many things, and that's it.
Appreciate your views. Thank you.
Somebody else? Any other question?
I have a question, maybe more for Roger. Okay. You mentioned in your second advice that giving the data producers the ownership of data quality and giving them the tools to be able to do it. Can you give us some examples of some of the tools or processes that like worked well for, I mean, all of you guys?
Okay, so I think that also you can provide examples, but but the short answer here is that anything that tell the team which is the quality of that data that they generate, via Slack, via mail, via a dashboard, via whatever, is already a good solution for that. Because normally what happens is that they don't have anything. So they produce data, and the data is there, and anyone looks at that data. So from a simple tool that, for example, some comprobations of if some columns are null or some columns met the expected format and send them a Slack if this is not met, to more complicated tools as self-created dashboards in Click or whatever. Both works. But here, the aspect that the companies have to work is that they start from a position that they look at zero quality. And you will have a cultural change here as a problem and not the tool problem. So the tool problem, you will find plenty of tools. You can use Datadog, you can use Grafana also to implement those rules. There are plenty of tools to do. So for example, in Holaluz, what you will use is Datadog. It's a tool that you connect there, the Kafka topics or whatever processing. You insert there some specifications, for example, what I said. So this topic must produce data that is a timestamp only. So you specify that, and if it's not met, this data goes somewhere or to some output, mail, Slack, dashboard, etc.
Just to add one more thing, but I agree fully. So as he said, it's a change management process, right? So what you want is to change the management of the producer, to change the mind of them, right? To own it. It's a lot about visibility, right? And about simplicity. They don't want to be bothered that they have to develop, they have to produce other things. This is not their main focus of the work. So profiling, quality checks, contracts, all of that are tools to change that. But I'd say that one of the things that normally we forget, but it's super important, is showing them what's the impact of that failing, right? Because, okay, yeah, my quality broke because I put a null instead of the order ID, right? What's the impact of that? The impact is that the business is taking a decision on that affects $2 million. And then we are losing, because of that decision, a lot of money, right? When he realizes the impact that he produces by sending a null, then it will be more important to him or to her.
You have solved your question? Thank you. Welcome.
Okay, one last question. It was in the same place. Sorry. So, for someone who's interested in data and still nowhere near where you guys are in your careers, there's so many. What?
I'm a vet.
There's so many databases, BI tools, APIs. It's so overwhelming. I'm someone who likes to know every option so I can choose the best option. But it's so if somebody started a while ago and it's like, oh, if I only can choose MySQL, then of course I'm just going to choose MySQL. I'm going to start learning. I'm going to start using it. But it sounds like you guys with your careers, you experiment a lot. You start very small. You start with 1, 2 things and make it work. What would you advise someone who has my mentality of like, I want to know the right option, so I know I'm studying the right thing, so I know I'm using the right tool, so I know I'm being efficient?
Tough question.
Do you want?
I can try. I'm not an engineer, okay? But I started as nurse, so we have something in common, more than data. But I've been working, all my working life is with data, and it happened to me, so I think we can talk about the career. Just learn whatever you are motivated to learn, and whatever it's solving your products, sorry, your needs, and to achieve the goals you have for you, for your career. Because tools, the landscape is, it's a lot, it's too much. So don't pretend to know everything about everything. And then something I learned after these 20 years is that the foundations are always the same. So I started working with Oracle. I started as an Oracle DBA. I remember about redo-logs and the transactional and the catching up with everything. I started with Oracle 7 and 8, so I'm quite experienced. So, but then you arrive to analytics, and now you have Delta. Oh, Delta, no? Or you can change your data. It's not static anymore. What is behind transactional logs? Right? So this is quite old. So whatever you learn, it's something that will be with you, and then you will just be adapting, no? Okay, now SQL, okay, SQL. No, now Python, okay, Python. But the basics will be always there. So that's my advice. But find something that motivates you, and you have a goal. So I want to achieve this goal, then I will learn this. But don't try to learn everything, because it's impossible, and tomorrow it will die. So just go for basics.
I'm going to go with a software engineering classic here. There is no silver bullet. There is no best tool for anything. Every tool that you select will have its pros and its cons. And you cannot leverage all of them. You cannot actually balance them all. So my take will be, try to take an MVP mentality, right? Try to develop something that works. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then you will iterate it. But that's the way things are built. If you want perfection from day one, you will never build anything.
Yeah, you'll be like me and be talking about it for a year and not have any.
So, and I think that also is important to know that if you fail and you learn, it's okay. It doesn't happen anything. So just I failed 2 times, or I made mistakes by designing architecture, and I'm still in the company, so anything has happened. So here, I think that the point here is that as long as you keep increasing your knowledge and you keep failing and learning from errors, it's good. And I think it's the best way to learn and the best way to increase your knowledge. Obviously, if you fail with some stupid, choose your failures. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if your fail caused that your company closed, maybe you have to check that. But yeah.
Thank you.
So we have a quiz. A quiz. Let me just share it on the other screen if I can. Okay. No, Gustavo, come on, come here. Because you know how this works. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think like scanning this QR.
You need to say that there is a really nice prize for the winner, so
Of course.
it is not
A data product.
Yeah. So a surprise.
We're gonna wait like for 1 minute or so that everyone like can scan. Okay, 13.
Are you already in? Or
How many
you need
people
more
is
time?
missing to connect? Okay. Okay, let's do it. Ah, vale. Sorry. Okay, 27. Is someone else missing? No? We start? Let's go. That was really fast. We can go back. Okay. Some of them might be controversial, not this one.
Next question.
Next one. Ooh, that quick responses. Are you sure? Okay, really nice. Good. Good. Next one. Sorry. It wasn't easy. That wasn't quick, huh? That one.
Is that 20 minutes?
Gives you time to change. That's fine.
The last one. This is the last one.
The last one. Final round. One people left to vote. Everyone has voted. Oof. Let's see the winner. Farran. Who is? Farran, is that you? Congratulations, Farran. Claro que podrías, claro. It's come for you, all these sets. Another one from Qbeast.
Nice. I'm going to model.
You can wear them all.
Yes, I can wear them all.
Yeah, also I can wear the second one.
There's even more. The Databricks team.
But I really want you to try.
Thank you, people.
Can we take a picture all together?
No? Yes. Yes, we can. Let's do a selfie, like from here. We do like a selfie.
No sé cómo va a salir porque nunca lo he hecho desde que te digo, ¿verdad?
A ver, vengo yo. Espera. A ver. Espera. Genzita skills. Yo creo. Uy. Say cheese. Okay, I think we're all together. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. Right now the food is coming, but we have some drinks to share, so please feel free to take some drinks and what?
Yeah, no, the point is you're ready, but the pizza is a little bit late, so it's coming in 2 seconds, so in the meantime...
It will wait in 5 minutes.
Some chips, and it's going to be a very good...
We're not gonna say. We cannot disclose that.